Let's talk to Anthony Castrovince. He, of course, MLB.com, and he's going to help us along with what we just did in the brushback with Arenado, Bauer, Springer, Lindor, and the Padre pitchers. The most pressure on them. Let's go from most to least. I think the most pressure, I'm going to have to probably say Lindor, Anthony, only because it's New York, only because, he's got the Tatis contract that looms, and he might want to play really well to sort of top it. I think that's a factor, and we all know New York at times can be a little destructive to player involvement. Let's go there first. You agree with that? Go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Your head is exactly where mine is on this one. The New York thing heightens everything, and so does his pending free agency. Lindor did not have a very Lindor-type 2020. I'm inclined to give him a mulligan there, given the conditions of 2020. But you look really the last 2 years, Chris, and he struggled with runners in scoring position. So, he needs to improve on that. There'll be a lot of heightened pressure. He's got a lot of help in that Mets lineup, but, just this environment we're in, the looming CBA talks, everything with his impending free agency, it's a really fascinating situation. Maybe he just signs an extension before opening day and renders all of that moot anyway. But I do think at this particular moment, a team that's built to win now and has made him a central figure of the lineup just in advance of his free agency. I think he's clearly number one for me.
I do have a feeling they won't get it done by spring training. I think by the end of the spring training, I think the owner will feel that have a good year. Why would he ever want to leave New York? I'll take my chances at the end. I'll pay everybody anyway to keep him. That's my take of it right this second. You might disagree. We'll go back to that point. Number two, only because he gets himself in hot water and he's liable to pick a fight he shouldn't be picking somewhere, I'll say Bauer. He's camouflaged by the team because he can be bad and it doesn't affect the ball club because they're so good and they have good pitching around him with Buehler ahead of him and Kershaw behind him. But, because he's loud and he can put himself in a little hot water and everybody's got huge expectations on him, I'll make Bauer number two, Anthony. What's your take on that?
We remain in agreement. Yeah, I think he is number two. He's got that short-term deal if you want to get in the finances of all that. But really, it just comes down to joining a World Series caliber club. And, can he maintain the kind of level we saw in 2020? I don't know if we still even know who or what Trevor Bauer is. His career has had a lot of variation. Last year, his spin rate improved tremendously. And you can go down the road of wondering how that might be. But ultimately, he's a guy with, elite talent level, a lot of skills, a deep repertoire. But there is going to be a different sort of pressure on him now that he's joined a championship caliber ball club. He's not been in that situation before.
So we agree there, 2 for 2. The third one's a little trickier. I'm going to put it on the Padre pitchers. Now, there's 2 of them, so you can spread out the blame if they both go bad. It's not like one of them has to take the complete fall. But the Padres are everybody's trendy team. Everybody loves them. Vegas loves them. All these Fangraph designs love them. Everybody thinks 95 wins, second best team in the league, all this. I don't think they can do that unless Darvish and Snell are both really good. That means stay injury-free and go out there and win a combined, 31, 32 ball games. And that may not happen. So I'll put the pressure, and it's a soft market out in San Diego, but I'll put the pressure on the Pod 2 pitchers, Darvish and Snell, number 3. Your take on that?
Yeah, they've clearly tried to stack the deck in that rotation to contend with the mighty Dodgers, and they may just have enough to do it. But there are a lot of question marks from a health standpoint with that rotation. Dinelson Lamet, of course, had the elbow issue last year. Snell has had elbow trouble in recent years. Darvish has injury trouble in recent years. So, if those guys are healthy, if they are as good as they were a year ago, that's probably good enough to contend. But, it's a risk. It's a bet. And for Snell and Darvish in particular, joining that group and really trying to live up to the billing there with Mike Clevenger on the shelf and Lamet having the iffy elbow, it's a lot to ask of them. So I think for Snell in particular, it's interesting too, because, he wants to prove he can be that guy who goes consistently deep into games. He wasn't given that opportunity in Tampa Bay, most famously in Game 6 of the World Series, but just in general in his Tampa Bay career. He was not given that long leash. I know I hope he gets it in San Diego to see what kind of caliber pitcher he can be deep into games. But that's another small pressure point there, is just to see if he can be that workhorse as well.
100%. It's the pressure spread around with that staff, but those two specifically. I'll make Arenado 4. I think Springer is into an easy situation. It's Toronto. They're going to play in Dunedin. I mean, you got the Yankees. I would say Arenado. He forced his way out of Colorado, rightly or wrongly. It's a team that should win the division. A lot's going to be expected of him there. Of course, Goldschmidt and they need offense. He's going to have to play well. I don't think it's a ton of the pressure in that city, because that's a very, very forgiving town and a forgiving media. But I'll make him number 4. You agree with that?
I don't know. I might put Springer higher. Don't underestimate those Dunedin fans. They can be vicious. They can be brutal when things aren't going well. I think Arenado is definitely in a great baseball city. And let's be honest, the Cardinals did not give up much to get him. Now they'll pay him a lot of money moving forward beyond 2021. But they didn't give him much to get that guy, and they got instantly much better. So I think he's in the good graces of the fan base. Springer is of course, he was a big get for the Blue Jays, a team that struggles to attract top free agents, and they were able to land him in these market conditions. And despite their own unusual circumstances of not knowing, when they'll actually be playing legitimate home games, but they need to take that step forward after the offseason they had, and he really needs to lead the way. He's the veteran and championship caliber ball player that they did not have in that lineup at this point, with that young burgeoning lineup. So I might put him ahead of Arenado personally.
Well, Springer's got to play. I mean, no 115 games. He's got to get out there and play 145, 150 games. I think that is significant. Back to Lindor before you go, Anthony. Do you think that there will be a serious push to get him signed by April 1st, or do you kind of agree with me that they'll let it ride out, see how everybody likes each other, and then look back at this at the end of the year? What's your take there?
I think there could be a serious push. I think it's in, all those guys in that great shortstop class for next winter. I think it's in all of their interest, to consider the option of extending with their current club, because it becomes a game of musical chairs, and there's only so many gargantuan shortstop contracts to be had in next winter's market. I think it's fascinating because New York was not Francisco Lindor's top choice in all of this process of being traded by Cleveland. And yet, lo and behold, that's where he ended up. And I'm not suggesting that he won't be happy there and can't be happy there, but this is an important feeling out period. Ultimately, I think he's going to shine on that stage. I think he's probably even meant for that stage. But I know that, in recent years, that was not a market that was at the top of his list. So money can, of course, influence a lot of decision making, and maybe there'll be a lot of money waved in his face, and maybe he settles in there in Port St. Lucie and really likes the vibe of that clubhouse and that organization in general, and feels comfortable signing on. But I think in general with that shortstop class, I would not be surprised if one or two of those dominoes fall prior to going to free agency, because again, that musical chairs game could leave someone standing.
Too many of them. Yeah, too many shortstops. You're right.
Yeah.
Great job, Anthony. Thank you for some help today. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you coming on.